Shalom and Bracha. This is a very response to good brother, blessed brother Laszlo Sontagh, Laszlo Sontagh, and I watched with great intrigue and interest your video about changes for none and all, and you mentioned about the blessed Sabbath Shabbat. There are many understandings of the process of kol manucha, tranquility, rest, and also to examine, as you say, with the third eye. But this third eye is connected to the left brain thinking and the right brain thinking, extending all the way down to the epicenter of Ayin Seichel Shebelev, the eye of the intellect of the heart. When we talk about the third eye thinking, it is a great experience to activate the third eye thinking from the process of oscillating consciousness from left brain reasoning, comprehension, to right brain perception of profundities. The exchange between right brain thinking and left brain thinking is basically the hashpah, the bounty coming from the spheriotic configurations, as we say in Hebrew, of Netzach, Hod, Yisod. Netzach being the perception of profundity which one wants to transmit to left brain consciousness in a way that nothing stands in the way of that transmission. Hod is the splendor and beautification of that transmission. Then you saw the actual connection to what is known as the malchut, the kingship, the rulership in the right brain, which then is giving off a flow outwardly, just as we can understand it, just as, say, like my speech, which I'm transmitting through this video to you, is going from me to you, and hopefully other blessed souls will be in reception of this. And of course, the Netzach Hod Yesod configuration from right brain thinking to left brain thinking is ultimately emanating out of the Ayin Seichel Shebelev, the eye of the intellect of the heart, the true third eye, because the human heart has the great distinction of being a dwelling place for the raw, godly, eternal energy that first is inhaled through the nostrils or through the mouth and comes down here. It's in a very pristine form. It's a double portion. It is not compounded by any elements. Of course, people argue we're talking about H2O, but that's only on the physical, elemental, compounded level. When we talk about Elokut, godliness, we're talking about something which is not bounded by the rules of compounded matter, but rather a flow, a shafa from the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, a bounty from the Infinite One, may He be blessed. So we take these type of awarenesses, which, by the way, as I mentioned, I think I wrote an email to your, commented on your video, that awareness is actually moving faster than the speed of light, because speed, measurement of motion, is only something which manifests at the lowest realm of Olam Atzilut, the world of intellect, and this is coming from the Panemiya dimension of Torah, and so forth. When we start to generate a ratzon within our human awareness, an oneg within our human awareness, a delight, and that delight is generating within our brain. These are matters which are higher than measurement of time and space, which takes us into the realm of the Ma'alim and Teva, higher than nature, which is generally where the human intellect is rooted, sometimes immersed into the point of becoming Magusham, grub, and gross and dross. And therefore, on Shabbat, when we do not work, and we resist from doing certain activities with Israel, we also examine the word Shabbat itself, which is Shin, Bet, and Tov, which is the same letters in Hebrew as Teshav, Tov, Shin Beit, which means Tashav, return, to return to your true essence as a human being, bearer of divine image, Selim Elokim. And we meditate upon these things for as long as we can, for the 24, 25, 26, sometimes people extend the Shabbat even longer. And we meditate, and we think with our koyach ha-makshava, the power of our thought. The Hebrew word for makshava is also found in the modern Hebrew word for machshev. We start to compute. We take in the data of, say, Torah, the divine teachings which were handed down from the Most High to Moshe, whether you be of the 12 tribes of Israel or the blessed children of Noah, Bnei Noach, and you start to process it based on your previous level of awareness, and the output should be, hopefully, on the most simplest compounded levels, is a love which is rooted and a byproduct of those meditations, and a fear, which a healthy fear would be, as typified by the patriarch Yitzhak Isaac, is to be a well digger, to dig into our own well, to reveal the well springs of contentment and joy that we have on our day of rest. And the Zohar, the book of light, the book of revelations for the 12 tribes of Israel, instructs us that from all the days of the week are their blessings extended out of Shabbat, just as the Gidei HaMoach, the neurons in the brain, extend down into the nervous system. So the delight and desire that we have for Elokut, for divinity, godliness, now becomes something which is that we can't live without. So not only is one day out of the week sanctified as a day of rest, that we actually can draw it into the week. And it's not so easy. However, there can be moments of Shabbat. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Because we know that once you taste true menucha, you don't want to leave it. And we can become pained from the lack of menucha, of tranquility and rest. So if your derech is to eat ocher bilti mavushal, which means raw food, so be it. More power to you. Empower others. Spread the word. But understand that many generations went with this type of approach, yet they were in error. Basically, the generations leading up to the Great Flood, which took place 4,114 years ago, because they had everything that was needed to have a fully sustainable, economically and environmentally sound world, therefore universe. Because when human beings affect the world, they're also affecting the universe. One just has to immerse themselves in concept of the butterfly theory or the field of morphology. And there is a nasinat koach, a giving over strength, from strength to strength, to either improve the world, or the opposite. Just as we see this horrible tragedy taking place in the Gulf of Mexico. Now we all know that the mind is something that we maybe use 4 to 5% of. Now Professor Yirmiyahu Branover was a great mind, a person involved in hydroelectric dynamics, studying out, I think, in the it's the University of Negev College in the land of the living, Eretz Israel, the land of Israel, mentioned recently in an article that just as we only use 5% of our brain, only 5% of the ocean has been explored, and yet we see this underground aneurysm continuing to flow and unfortunately to grow in the Gulf of Mexico. So maybe, we know if a person's only using 5% of their brain and experiences an aneurysm, heaven forbid, no one should experience such things, they would constantly be in the emergency room, in the ICU. So are we putting our minds to the test, blessed souls, to meditate upon the use of Shabbat in the proper way, to reach levels of consciousness above the speed of light, which is only within the context of Malchut, Silot, the lowest level of the divine world of intellect and the kingship within it. Sababa, we continue, Bezat Hashem, with the help of the Most High.